Hello and welcome to this webinar entitled Executing Documents Using Electronic Signatures. My name, as you can see, is Keith Markham, and I will be your presenter for this particular session today. Let's begin, as always, by looking at the agenda for this particular webinar. So let's just go through the various ideas. Let me just summarize the sort of things that we will be discussing as part of this. We'll begin with an overview as to where we are at the moment. So I will be introducing to you the fact that both the Law Society and the Law Commission have produced some fairly useful documents, and I'll be drawing on those documents throughout the course of this particular session today. We'll then go on to talk about the applicable legislation that talk specifically about electronic signatures. And frankly, there's not a lot to tell there, but we do have the Electronic Communications Act 2000, and we also have the EIDAS Regulation 2016, which, as we will see, has now been written into our law post-transition period. So I'll talk briefly about that, but then we'll go on to, of course, recognise that typically in English law, there are minimal formalities in terms of forming a contract, in terms of in writing or signature, but we will then see that there are specific types of contract that do require both writing and to be signed. And when we've gone through that and looked at what those particular requirements are, we will be looking at relevant case law to go with those areas. For example, contracts to do with guarantees, contracts for sale of land, and various other things as well. So then, having gone through that, look at the types of electronic signature that can be used, when it works, when it doesn't work, and the like. And then we'll go on to deeds. And obviously with deeds, we've got similar considerations to what will have been discussed before, but we've also got the issue of witnessing to be thinking about. And we'll think about how that works in an electronic sense or doesn't work in an electronic sense when we get to that part of the webinar. Finally, we'll look at the practical concerns that have certainly arisen in the light of COVID-19 and have led to changes in terms of how the courts and other institutions like the Land Registry are looking at this particular topic now. So we will talk about witnessing deeds in that context. We'll talk about HMR, Her Majesty's Land Registry documentation. We'll talk about pre-signed pages, virtual closings, witnessing wills, and all sorts of other practical issues when we get to that particular point.